welcome to day 752 of quarantine.
We hope you're enjoying this quarantine series.
Quarantine series.
We made it specially for you.
Yes,
In fact,
we really did.
This whole quarantine has been of our orchestration.
Oh no, don't say that.
We're taking responsibility for everything just so you can listen to this podcast. We do hope you enjoy it.
I'm Erica.
And I'm Dominic.
And this is Tina Butty.
And this is European Problems Americans will never understand.
Oh.
Ba-da-bow, ba-da-da-bow. Well, yes.
You're totally, this is all you.
No, this is all you, actually.
I have a
feeling you never understand these.
No, I have a feeling you're going to bring these up, and I'm gonna just shoot them down, one right after the next.
Okay,
Let's
no
go.
screens in
Let's
windows. Go. How about number 1? No screens in windows in Europe.
That's something that Americans don't understand. Yeah, no, I don't understand that.
Because guess what? There's no bugs.
Well, okay, let's think about this. We're saying Europe, so that doesn't just include Britain.
No, it includes everyone. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it in Italy or in Spain. What do you mean,
Spain, Italy, south of France,
They don't have screens in their windows.
No, but I'm saying they probably do have bugs, so...
Yeah, of course they do.
But, I mean...
But they don't, they don't...
As far as saying, we don't understand that, I mean, I understand. Because, obviously, most of the buildings in Europe, most of the houses and... etc.
Maybe we should, for people who are not familiar with a screen, it's like a mesh material that goes on, and screen doors as well are a thing, especially in the southern United States, that go on your windows. So you can open your window. Why you would want to open your window in Texas during the summer, I do not know. But some people who don't have air conditioning, or air conditioning, sorry, it sounded like I said hair conditioning. If you don't have hair conditioning or air conditioning, you can open your window and let the warm breeze flow through your house, and you don't let any wasps or bugs or mosquitoes or anything that could potentially kill you. And we're talking COVID-19 here, everyone.
You guys, we're trying not to mention
This is the quarantine life.
We're trying not to mention it in every podcast, but I mean,
You did. You said something about quarantine. I was all for not going for the quarantine, but then you had to go, day 795 of quarantine.
Anyway, my point was that the buildings and houses in Britain and Europe are generally older.
Yes.
Well,
that doesn't really matter.
Well, I think it does, because houses here...
You can just frame a thing of mesh and stick it on there, can't you?
Well, you could, but houses here, the windows are made in a way that they're made for the screen to fit in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you'd have to do like a little cutout, which, I mean, it wouldn't be that big of a deal, I guess.
You're saying people in Europe can't do cutouts of windows and...
Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't build things or, do contracty type work.
It's pretty simple.
How many screens have you fitted into houses, sir?
795, because I've been in quarantine doing just that. I've been boarding up people's windows so they don't get out.
No, but there are old houses, obviously, in America, also. I mean, pre-central air conditioning, at least.
Yeah.
Not anywhere as old as there are in Europe, but... And the idea would be that you would have a screen door, a screen front door, a screen on your back door, and then you could leave your windows open, and you would just get the draft coming in through the house. You know?
Cross breeze, yeah.
The cross breeze, yeah. And
cross breeze for your toss pillows.
You would maybe have some ceiling fans on that would circulate any kind of breeze that was flowing through.
Yeah.
And and you don't want the bugs in the house, so you have the screens.
But, yeah, I mean, of course there are bugs in, southern Spain and France and...
And there are in Britain, because I can remember being in Britain with the window open and moths coming in.
Yeah, moths come in, yeah.
Moths are bugs.
Yes.
Flies.
Flies, yeah.
Bees.
Yes.
Yes, you
Well,
have
you
all
want
of
them all
those.
in there,
No,
don't
you,
you?
you have
You want a
all
little,
of this.
you're saying you wouldn't want to wake up with a little bee going, hello. I've come from the honey tree to bring you your honey.
Oh my god.
It's very 100-acre wood. We live in the 100-acre wood.
No, but
Okay?
you had the opposite problem when you came here. You were like, why are there screens on the windows?
Why are there screens on the windows? What's going on?
Why are all the cups wobbling?
No, I mean, like, we need to replace these ones, but, you know, like, because there's, like, holes in them where bees have been trying to tunnel in, the wasps, they eat away at it. And squirrels.
The weather.
Squirrels.
They get wet. Yeah.
Squirrels now are doing Spider-Man impressions.
They do.
No, they do. You can see them going...
Climbing up the side of
the window, and they're like...
Yeah, I mean, they're to keep this... They keep the squirrels out as well.
No, they don't. The squirrels are freaking just ripping them up.
The squirrels will come in through your chimney.
Yeah. They're getting the
All
walls.
right, what's next? What's next on this list?
Washing lines and dryers.
We don't understand why.
We do washing lines and not dryers in Britain.
Oh, yeah.
Why are there no dryers in Britain?
No, yeah.
Why?
I agree with that one. We don't understand that. Yeah.
Why don't you have dryers? Because hanging things out in the washing line.
So go ahead and try to explain this to me.
Because
and I'll tell you why you're wrong.
It's air. It's air. Okay?
It's
lovely. It's air. It's fresh air. And also, it's a case of, like, we don't have the space for a dryer in our kitchens. Our kitchens are very small.
We don't put our dryers in our kitchens.
Well, you should, because that's where all the washing goes on. Yeah, that's another thing. Washing machines in the kitchen. Why don't we get on to that? It's not on the list, but let's just add it here. Why is the washing machine in the kitchen? I don't want the washing machine in the kitchen.
You have to explain these things.
I don't need to explain these things. These are just how things are. This is the way, as the Mandalorian said. This is the way. It's just...
Now, the thing about washing lines, because it's a thing we do over here. It does exist.
The thing is
I've lived in a house that had one of the little spindly
the patio.
things
It's a patio washer. Those were a 1980s invention.
Patio washer? What are you talking about?
They go on the patio, and they're like they're not like you have to string a line from a pole to another pole.
Yeah.
Like just a straight washing line. These things were like, they had, you could drape the washing on them and you could turn them. Yeah. Because, they got turned with the breeze a little bit. Yeah. Those were like something that came out in the 80s, I remember, and they were like a patio line, they used to call them.
We had one of those in one of the houses.
Those were like a revolution for people in the 1980s in Britain.
Okay, I
remember my mother got one in like the late 80s. We got one and my dad had to put it in and everything, because it was like, it had to be cemented in and everything. And it was just like, oh, this is
we mentioned this in another podcast, and I had
a little bit of the future.
I had a little bit of a debate, a healthy discussion with someone on Facebook that was just like...
You got into a slanging match, didn't you?
No, but it was just like, oh no, it's so wonderful to take fresh sheets off the line and bring them in. It's just like, no. And they're like, oh, you're too young to understand how wonderful it is to bring. No. My grandmother had a washing line strung from one side of her back porch to the other side of the back porch. She used to hang things out to dry, bring them in. They smelled like outside. They didn't smell fresh. They didn't smell wonderful. They smelled like dirt. They smelled like they'd been outside. They smelled like I needed
fresh air.
They smelled like I needed
the country.
They smelled like I needed to wash them again. And she had a dryer as well. She had a dryer.
We had a dryer from like we bought one in like the early 2000s. Mm-hmm. My dad got one. He finally got one because it was just kind of like a convenience. And it's like, oh, I'm going to buy one. But they use so much electricity.
Yeah, that may be why. And
also, we were talking about like knocking through a little bit so we could stick the vent out through the thing, because we had it in the kitchen. Yeah, because we put the washer in the kitchen. The washing machine is in the kitchen, so the dryer should be as well. And we had a massive kitchen, so it was okay. So what we do is we'd because that thing was like a snake. Like the vent was a snake. We'd stick it out the door because if you left it in there, just all the freaking stink of like this freaking washing. Drying business going on.
Yeah.
So we stuck it out the back door, so, we'd vent it a little bit, but we were always talking about we never did, and we sold that house. So,
Just a little information for you.
My dad now lives in Spain, where he has to put his washing out on the line.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't even have radiators in Spain. They don't even have radiators in Spain.
They don't have any need for them, really.
No way.
So the other annoying thing about putting clothes out to dry on the line in Britain...
Bugs.
No.
It rains.
Yes.
Well, that's it. It gives it a bit of an extra wash, doesn't it?
You guys. Let me just lean in here. Let me tell you something right now. In Britain, it rains not all day, every day, but it does rain almost every day for at least a couple of minutes. It's an island, you know that whole thing about raining frequently on islands. This is true of Britain. So you have days and days of sunshine, but all of a sudden a little storm will come in for like 5 minutes at a time.
Not a little storm. What is it?
What?
It's a little black rain.
I knew you were going to say that.
Hovering over the honey tree.
And it will rain. And unless you are home and prepared for this sudden freaking storm to just come in out of nowhere.
It's raining. We'll have to go out and get. I've done that. I've had the call to action where I've had to go and grab the washing off the line and bring it in. And we put it on the radiator then.
There's absolutely no reason to hang clothing, sheets, towels.
It's a little black rain cloud
outside. Get a dryer. It's 2020. Get a dryer.
We have radiators as well. We used to put everything on the radiators.
Yeah, and that looks so attractive, doesn't it? Going around.
So attractive. Who are we showing this to? Are we putting this on TV?
Anybody who comes over and you have your freaking underwear and your shorts and your shirts.
Anybody who comes over, who? The Queen?
Anyone.
Winnie the Pooh?
Anyone.
Is Winnie the Pooh coming up? I don't think Winnie the Pooh cares about whether my socks and underpants
Get to number 3
are
on the
thing.
list.
He just wants to know where the honey is.
Moving on. Honey pot.
Sassenach, especially a honey pot. No, just for you Outlander fans out there.
Just a little Outlander humor. We're currently binging it. Anyway, number 3 on the list, please.
This is something that's even worse than no dryers.
So I thought, okay. Before you continue, I thought when we started this list that this was going to be things that Americans just don't understand. These are actually things that we complain about.
Yes, pretty much. Yeah.
Okay, so I had it wrong there. I thought I was going to be shooting you down, but now I'm just going to have to tell you why these things are correct.
So explain number 3 then, the lack of good Mexican food. Explain it.
This is something we don't understand about Europe, the lack of good Mexican food. I mean, that's pretty clear, isn't it? Yeah. You're not really that close to Mexico.
It's pretty clear, but there's a lot of people
the lack of good Mexican food.
Why is there no Mexican food over here?
I mean, it makes perfect sense to me.
Why?
I'm curious.
Why is there so Mexicans?
I'm curious what the Mexican population in Europe looks like. How many
just food.
No. What I mean is, how many Mexicans are there in Europe? I'm curious about, numbers-wise. Maybe I'll look that up while we
How many Mexicans are there pretending to be from Spain or Portugal? Well, from Spain. It'll have to be because they had no idea how to speak Portuguese.
Right. No, I mean, I just can't imagine that there's a very big Mexican or maybe like, Southwestern American population.
We've got to look this up, everybody.
I'm saying Southwestern America.
We're looking this up live and in quarantine now.
I'm saying Southern America, not South American.
Yeah.
Southern United States.
Southern United States, including California.
Because they border Mexico. Yeah. So, I was going to say Tex-Mex.
Tex-Mex people.
But they have, like, Mexican food versions in Arizona, New Mexico, California.
I'd imagine it's the same sort of thing as Tex-Mex. It's rice, it's beans, it's tortillas, it's enchiladas, it's fajitas. Excuse me. It's everything else.
Everything.
Everything, I mean, I'd never eaten Mexican food before I came over here. I mean, maybe I'd had fajitas once. Maybe I'd had something, that, it's not really, it's Tex-Mex. I'd never eaten Tex-Mex before I came over here. And it is everywhere. It's everywhere over here. People are obsessed with it. They think you're
in Texas, so...
Yes.
hang on.
It's what white people eat. It's not what the Mexicans eat.
You do realize that Texas...
Mexicans eat proper things like mole.
Used to be Mexico.
Mexico used to be Texas, actually. And I have that on the authority of my 10-year-old niece. She said it once. She said it to me.
Oh my God. She doesn't... Yeah.
She knows more about Texas history. Mexico used to be Texas. So,
there are, according to gob.mx...
Gob, shut your gob. Yeah.
Do you know how many Mexicans live abroad? Okay, according to...
And do they know it's Christmas time?
Gob.mx, there are 103,814 Mexicans in Europe. With an average
That's an invasion.
With an average age of 34, 58% are women and 42% are men. The 10 Mexican states with the largest presence in Europe are Mexico City, Jalisco, Nuevo León, the State of Mexico, Veracruz, Puebla, Guanajuato. Oh, God.
You're supposed to be the one who knows all this. Are you lying to me?
Tamaulipas, Chihuahua, and
Chihuahua.
Sinaloa. Okay, so there we go. 103,000. We'll now need to know what the population of Europe is.
It's 104,000.
You're telling me that the majority of Europe are Mexicans.
Yeah. We've been holding out on you for this entire time.
Okay, so what is the population of Europe? See, these are the kinds of discussions that Dominic and I have, whether or not you guys are listening.
741.4 million people.
As of 2016.
And 103,000 of those are Mexican.
Right.
That is nothing.
So that is nothing.
Yeah.
Hence, why there is not good Mexican food in Europe.
Do they complain about it? No, they don't. They enjoy eating French food. They enjoy eating Spanish food. They enjoy eating German food. They enjoy eating British food.
Right, or they make their own food at home.
Or they make their own food at home and don't complain about why there's no tortillas in the thing.
Right, yeah.
So,
I mean, I wouldn't go, I don't know, where could let's say, like a French person, I'm sure French people don't go to Australia.
We went to Paris
and
there was a Tex-Mex restaurant and you took a photo of it.
Yeah.
And I took you to Chiquitas.
That's going against the lack of good Mexican food in Europe.
I took you to Chiquitas for your birthday.
You did, and I was very angry about that. Now here's a little story time for you all. I'm in Britain for what? What is it? My third time, maybe?
Yeah. I thought you were going to say your 30th birthday.
No, my third visit to Britain. And I think it was toward the end of the visit, too.
Yeah, it was your birthday coming up, yeah.
And so you're like, oh, I'm going to take you to eat for your birthday. And so I was like, oh, okay, I've never had Spanish food. I've never had tapas. I've never been to like a Spanish restaurant and had tapas. So I'd really like to do that. Okay, well, we'll go see. I don't know. You're like...
We'll see.
This is what Dominic's like. And so we stop outside of a Spanish restaurant. I didn't even know, you guys, this is making me sound so ridiculous, but I didn't even really know what tapas were. I just knew that.
You just assumed it was going to be like Mexican food, didn't you?
No, I didn't.
I thought it was just going to be smaller portions of
I think I didn't realize that it was smaller portions, so I didn't know like how it worked. So just looking at the menu, one good thing, this is a totally off subject, one great thing actually about Europe and Britain are most of the restaurants over there post their menus on the outside of the restaurant. So you can decide whether you want to go into that restaurant or not based on what they have and what their prices are. You don't have to go in and like sit down and look at the menu.
I mean, over here it's kind of not an option because people don't really walk.
Yeah. No.
We don't really walk around. There's no like area to walk around. But then again, if you walk around the Domain, I think there is a couple of restaurants that have the menu outside.
They do.
It's starting to get more European, the cafe culture.
Most of them do.
Do I want... Oh, that looks good. Steak and chips.
The Domain.
Very delicious.
The Domain, you guys. It's like outdoor shopping area, like a shopping mall, but they also have bars and restaurants.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here in Austin. So if you ever come to Austin, then you probably want to go visit.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we went and we looked at the Spanish tapas restaurant, and I was younger and I didn't know what was going on.
I was younger, so much younger than today.
And I was just like, I don't know how to work this, really. I don't understand. She never needed
anyone.
And so he talked me into, don't do this. Oh, no. I remember what it was. It was mostly seafood on the menu. And Dominic doesn't do seafood.
I was like, it's mostly seafood on the menu, and I don't do seafood.
Oh, and it's your birthday, so let's do what I want to do. Yes.
I wanted to sample the culinary delights of Chiquitos, everybody. Chiquitos. Mm-hmm. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
You know that, places.
You know.
It's a chain restaurant.
Now you all know.
It's a wonderful chain restaurant that purports itself to be Tex-Mex, Mexican food.
But me being the wonderful partner in life that I am, I was like, okay, you don't like seafood, fair enough, let's go somewhere else. And he takes me to a bloody Mexican restaurant, a bloody Tex-Mex restaurant. It was just down the road. And I'm like, do you know that I eat this every other weekend when I'm at home and when I'm at home? Yeah. So that's what we did. And this place is called Chiquitos. And
you were like, oh, it's not going to be good.
Yeah, I was terrified that it was going to be disgusting.
They changed the menu since I'd been there before. They'd actually added more Mexican dishes to this.
Yeah, you were so disappointed. I was like, I'm going to stick with nachos because how can somebody mess up nachos?
And they did, didn't they?
No, they didn't.
Oh, they didn't?
No, they actually gave real sour cream and real guacamole. Because the sour cream I had encountered in Britain thus far was like runny. It wasn't.
It was like Chipotle sour cream.
It wasn't.
I like that sour cream. I don't like having to really drum it off my
thick and fluffy deliciousness that we have in America.
I needed a little bit warm, like it is in Chipotle.
Oh no!
Well, it's not warm in Chipotle, is it? It's just runny sour cream that they just kind of go ladle on, and it's there, you know.
Okay, we got to move it on. We still have two more points to make. Yeah, we went off on a tangent with that one.
But you don't mind, do you? Because you like listening to us, don't you? Anyway,
we hope.
Anyway, the end of that story was they had good sour cream.
It was
she
good.
Was very surprised.
Yes, yeah. I will finish off. It was actually good food, but like I said, how can you mess up nachos?
Yeah.
But yeah, it was good. I was surprised. It was actually very just basically what you would get here in the States. Yeah, which I was not counting on whatsoever going in.
Number 4 is air conditioning.
Yeah, I mean, that's understandable. Again, the buildings and houses are old. So, I can imagine it's very...
The end.
It's very expensive to put in central air conditioning, isn't it?
And it just won't work. I mean, people, everybody's for it. Those 2 weeks of the year it gets to, 90 degrees Fahrenheit in Britain, you know? I mean, it hits 90, everybody's freaking out. Like there's some sort of pandemic going on, you know? Mm. And it's like, oh, what is happening? Oh,
You know what, though?
And it's like, we need air conditioning. We need it. Oh, why don't we have air conditioning? We need and it's just like, no. And then it calms down and it gets cold and everybody's like, oh, actually, no. We just like to bundle up and be by the fire. And
I mean, but again, we're talking that this is Europe, right? This is not just Britain.
This is Europe,
so it gets much hotter.
It gets much hotter in Spain and stuff. So yeah, but I mean, it's just like putting the work in. Like my dad lives in southern Spain, and it gets about as hot as it does here.
He keeps all the curtains and everything closed to keep the sun out as much as possible.
And they don't even have curtains. It's like black shutters. It's like dark wooden shutters.
The thing about Spain, though, is
completely block out the light.
The building materials are different.
It's like a stucco.
And so they're made for the heat, basically.
Yeah.
It sort of keeps the interior
coolish,
as much as possible.
Because it got cold when we were there. Because we went to Spain in November or December. Mm-hmm. And it got cold one night. It got quite cold. Yeah. I remember. And I was just like, that was just the one night, though. Because the rest of the night, I was like, it was quite comfortable for me,
You know what I just thought of, though? Why don't you see more, window air conditioning units?
It's a power thing. It's running a lot of electricity,
Because especially since you guys don't have, that's a perfect when you don't have screens, you don't have a screen to remove. You just lift up the window and the unit fits right in the window, you know. And I can't think of ever
like in
really...
New York, like the older buildings in New York, they would do that,
Mm-hmm.
But no, I don't know why. I mean, I guess again, it's like, you know, I think there are portable air conditioners that you can stick in your house and just like, you know, cool you off when you sleep or whatever.
Because you guys don't even really have ceiling fans either.
I've seen them in houses.
In more modern,
in kind of more modern houses. You know, you can buy them from like Argos and stick them on yourself.
Yeah.
And you know, so people do that.
Yeah, because ceiling fans are huge in Texas. And
I mean, we've got one here now.
Yeah, I can't really. There's not too many houses I've ever been in that don't have ceiling fans in the bedrooms, in the living room. You know, they're not the most attractive thing, I guess, to have usually, but they come in quite.
Handy. We've turned ours off now for the recording, and it gets stuffy in here. Like almost immediately, I can feel like, oh, it's stuffy.
Yeah,
you know?
And we have the central air on,
and we have the central air on too. You know, it's like I need to either open a window or turn the fan on to get some air circulation. Yeah. You know, but air conditioning.
Yeah, so I mean, I understand why, but the window unit air conditioners are a little bit interesting. I had never thought about that.
It's a power thing. It's just
if we have anybody listening in Europe or in Britain who has an air conditioner that goes in your window, let us know, because I've never seen it that I can think of.
Because central heating in Britain requires a boiler, and it's usually done either an electric one or a thing, and it just boils hot water and it goes around that hot water is used to heat your shower and your radiator, and you know, your radiators get hot and radiate heat. Mm-hmm. But you have to be kind of quite close to them or have a small enough thing. Yeah, small enough room to enjoy them.
I mean, most of the rooms are pretty small.
I mean, I'd always forget, you know, it'd be bloody freezing in the morning. And my dad used to put the heating on as in the night for like an hour and an hour in the morning. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I'd wake up and it'd be freezing and I'd go over to like the radiator and I'd stick my hand on the radiator and it'd be burning hot, but I wouldn't feel it until I touched it, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you know? But I remember bleeding radiators as well.
I don't understand what that does.
Yeah, it's an old-fashioned term.
That may be for another
podcast, bleeding radiators, just to get the excess water out and everything, you know. The next one is the level of smoking. Last one, level of smoking in Europe.
Yeah, definitely Americans will never understand that.
Because I've heard several people going, I went to Spain and France, everybody is lighting up. And when I got to the UK, everyone was standing outside smoking.
Yeah, it's really bizarre.
It's bizarro world. You know,
especially coming from a city like Austin, where you're not allowed to smoke in public places, like even in parks and stuff, you know?
Yeah, in Britain, it's kind of like, you know, there was a ban in public restaurants and bars and stuff and hotels. You couldn't smoke in them, and that came into effect in around 2005 or something, maybe. I'm not sure when, but I remember, you know, before that everyone was lighting up in a pub, you know.
Yeah.
And but then it was like they had designated smoking areas out back or out front, or usually like if it was an old pub in like a terrace, they'd have to go out. There was no back area for them to go out. There was only the front, so you'd see them all just smoking out the front, you know, like the cafe culture, you know.
You know, people are so health conscious in Austin that, I will say,
the smoking.
The first time, even if there wasn't a ban, I think most people wouldn't be smoking anyway.
Yeah.
Except for maybe in like bars and nightclubs. But I will say the first time, and actually every time we go back, it does like strike me. It startles me because it's almost like I forget that people still smoke. You know what I mean? Like, just like, oh God, people still smoke? What is going on?
I remember in Italy, you saw these girls going out, and they were young girls. Mm-hmm. And I think you didn't say anything to me, but I remember you kind of looked at them weirdly, because I remember they had cigarettes hanging out of all of their mouths.
Every single one of them. And they were young.
They were young. They were like 17 or something, and they were just smoking like pros, you know. Like, you know.
Yeah, because who does that?
And you were just like, oh, you don't see teenagers doing that because, you know.
Oh, you might see teenagers because they're teenagers.
But they were smoking like, you know, like it was like they've been doing it since they were 5.
Yeah, I mean, it is weird.
You kind of had a look upon you, and I was just like, oh, yeah, you know, I forgot. You don't see that in America, you know.
I remember when we went back to Britain one time, and everybody was vaping then.
Oh, yeah, my dad was like, vaping,
nobody was smoking, where everybody that would have been, was doing it. Which now I think they're saying that vaping is just as bad for you as smoking, But yeah, it is a strange thing because, you know, as advanced as I consider people in Europe and Britain to be, you know, forward thinking and all of that kind of thing, you would think that they're smart enough to understand how bad it is for your health. So why?
Well, they put they put the things on. You know, they put the warnings and the photos of someone's lungs being all black and tar and everything. Still didn't deter people. It's still, not great. Yeah.
This list, by the way, in case you guys were interested,
it came from Reddit. Yeah. There's a American problems Europeans are too European to understand, so we'll probably do one of them.
Yeah.
Again,
they're always fun to do.
They're always fun to do, like, you know, just because we know we've had so much fun talking about this.
We like to debate these kind of things. Like, oh yes, this is stupid. This is not right. This is wrong.
This is absolutely right. But
Anyway, we hope you are all well. We thank you so much for listening. As always, we appreciate your support. If you would like to further support us, just sharing this podcast with your friends or family or anybody you know that would be interested would really help us. We do have a Patreon page where we have perks for patrons like extra podcasts, Q&As. Dominic has an EP available that we give out to our patrons. And
when you become a patron, you get that for free.
Yeah, and also just that's the easiest way to be sure that you're going to get a reply from us every single time, is by asking us a question or reaching out to us on our Patreon page. So that's always something to think about. But yeah, just giving us a rating or review on whichever podcast app you're listening to this on also helps us. That helps us tremendously, actually.
Tremendous help.
Yeah. But thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you next time.
Talk to you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.